So the Chevelle is back. We ran into some issues last time. The thing vibrated and shook so bad that I was scared it was gonna snap the wheel studs off or just tear the car apart. So we stopped there and the thing was clearly down on power. So I gave him a list of things to check out and try and whatnot so that we could, you know, have a round two and hopefully find the power that we were missing. Unfortunately, after putting it back on the dyno, we put a new drive shaft in and it cleared up a majority of the shake and vibration. There's still a little bit there, but it's, I don't know, somewhat normal for these older cars. At least it's enough to the point where we can dyno it without worrying that the thing's gonna fly off. But unfortunately, the power is still just not there at all. And what's actually pretty crazy is I overlaid this car's dynograph with another car's dynograph that has basically the same engine combo without a supercharger. And if you look at the two graphs, how they overlay, the red is naturally aspirated and the blue is with the supercharger. And you can see there's like virtually no difference in power. So that's obviously a problem. So I started the whole troubleshooting process. Did all the normal stuff, make sure there's no leaks, all that. Kind of suspected that we had some individual, maybe a cylinder or two wasn't firing, but using the infrared heat gun, at least at idle, all cylinders were firing. Pulling all the plugs out, do a compression check, make sure the engine's healthy, that was fine. Cylinder number 7 spark plug looked a little suspect, so started doing the individual cylinder stuff. Pulled the injectors out, flowed them, they were all good. I put new plugs in it and checked out the wires, moved some stuff around with the coils, and basically put everything back together at the same time. Gonna try and make one more run here and see if checking out and kind of doing all this stuff is going to correct the problem. If not, I'm out of time and ideas for what I'm available to do. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed that this will take care of it. I don't know, I'd like to see at least 100, 150 horsepower, maybe more, that'd be nice, but definitely not even in the ballpark of what we should be currently. So I'm going to start it up, let it warm up, and we'll make a run real quick. So I think this one went so bad last time it was here that I just deleted all the footage from it, so this video might be kind of starting off in a weird spot. Alright, got a little heat back into this thing. It's making like 9-10 psi. It's not heavily modified, we're just on 93 octane, so it doesn't necessarily need to make a ton of power. I'm not expecting to make a ton of power, but obviously expecting it to make a lot more than what it would without a supercharger. So all right, fingers crossed. It's like a whole new car. Damn, it picked up 200. Holy shit. Obviously, after going through all that, I was hoping that we'd find some power, but I wasn't quite expecting 200. Let's check out the load. Look at our fueling first. Pretty damn close. Little fat up top, so we can fix that pretty easy. Fuel pressure's good. Goes up about 10 pounds, boost is 10 pounds. Good thing I didn't make any more power because we're totally out of injector. Air temp seems pretty reasonable. Just for the hell of it, I overlaid one of the previous runs where it was down 200 horsepower. First now, the big thing here is the RPM trace. So a couple of things here is you can see that the mainline dyno is controlling the rate of acceleration, and even with the 200 horsepower difference is doing a killer job. But what's the most interesting here is usually when you have so the injectors flowed fine, so this was a spark problem, whether it was plugs, wires, or coils. I'm fairly certain it was the wires because they were questionable at best. Generally speaking, in my experience, when you have a problem with wires or it's an ignition related problem and you drop cylinders, you'll see it in the RPM trace. it'll be real jagged, but you can see here both of these look identical. And it was definitely firing on all 8 cylinders at idle, and as far as I could open the throttle and rev it to, I don't know, probably 2,500, 3,000 RPM and you know, kind of still be able to get to the cylinders, it appeared they all were firing there too. So at some point under throttle, obviously those cylinders were dropping, but it's almost mind-blowing how it wasn't picked up in the RPM trace at all. So the coolest part about being able to do this all day every day is that you learn something new every single day. You always run into some sort of a scenario or a situation that you haven't been in before. So yeah, that's what makes it fun. If I had to guess, based off the timing and stuff that's in it and the way the fueling is, I don't really have much room to make a whole lot more power, so we're probably pretty close. I'll probably make another run or two just to experiment with a couple of things. Yeah, I think this one's pretty close. The best part of this is when he put the drive shaft in and said that it fixed all the vibration and stuff, I asked him if it felt like a turd since it was, you know, obviously down on power, and he didn't seem to think so. He said it was fast and spun the tires and done all that good stuff. So now with 200 more horsepower, it's probably gonna feel like a land rocket.
Vehicle's pitching downrange.
All right, I pulled some fuel out up top to try and get us back where we need to be there, and actually took 2 degrees of timing out of it just to see where we're at, and let's see what happens. All right, lost 20 horsepower, so that's good. We'll try touching the opposite direction just to see. We'll probably just end up right back where we were though. Craft's nice and smooth. That's the most important part. Percent or two most of the run. And kind of really tanks after 6,000, so add a couple percent here. I'm sorry, take away a couple percent here, add a couple percent here, put a touch of timing in it, and we're gonna have to put some new injectors in this thing. So my assumption will be, just like everyone else, will probably pulley it up and maybe looking at doing some E85 or something and some bigger injectors, and we'll go for a round 2. Now let me change this stuff real quick. Okay, we just tightened the fueling up a little bit and added, so put the timing that I pulled out of it back and then added 1.5 degrees. And I'm not really worried about power at this point. I just kind of go through the same motions regardless. I forget what it was before. I think that's a little bit higher. So we'll pull that 1.5 degrees back out, keep it safe. And as long as our fueling's good, we're probably gonna call that good. So here is basically 3 runs overlaid. You can see the blue and the yellow. The blue was the one we just did with more timing. The only reason it made more power is I revved it a little bit higher. Everywhere else at this point has too much timing. So we're gonna pull that back out. And then the red is with 2 degrees less. So I'm gonna meet that in the middle, and let's take a look at our fueling real quick. So down here is where I added a little bit of fuel. That's 2%, I can live with that. Here we got 3% correction now, which is kind of ironic because I didn't touch that area at all.
I didn't do fucking shit.
Again, 3% is nothing to worry about. And where I made the most changes was out here. We got 0%, 1, 0, -1, whatever. So we're gonna call that good. So I'm gonna pull a little timing out. So I'm gonna pull the timing I put back in out of it completely, and then probably pull, I don't know, probably another degree out since we're so close on the duty cycle. And I think we're going to call this one good. We're just going to have a conversation with the customer that we're out of fuel and discuss the next path of upgrades. This is a twin turbo methanol Hemi. This is single turbo small block Chevy. Probably going to do this one tomorrow. And I got to pull in a turbo Silverado, which I might do tomorrow. I'm not sure. I'm either gonna do the Silverado or this tomorrow. So if you like watching these style of videos, make sure you subscribe. Since 3/4 of the footage for this video got deleted, it's probably a little short. It makes it look like you tune these things in 5 minutes, but this has been like 2 full days in the making. So glad we got it all sorted out. Didn't look very promising there at first, but this thing's doing exactly what it needs to do now, and this car's gonna be a blast to drive. This thing is in awesome shape. They did a really good job on it. Did all the work himself, paint, body work, all of it. And he showed me some pictures of it, the way he got the car. And to see it turn into something that looked like it belonged in a junkyard to this, it's really impressive. And I always think that stuff's cool. So somebody puts this much kind of time, effort into a car, I like to kind of go the extra mile to make sure that we get it all sorted out and give them something they can be proud of. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.